nothing back. We keep it 100 on 1,000. That's right. We won't be paused, edited, or muted. Uncut Live Productions, your empowerment platform. Ladies and gentlemen, Lolly-Da and everybody, these are pictures that were captured of the homelessness disparities, the shelter in Prince George's County, Maryland. The picture you saw before that, those pictures was taken in New Carrollton, Hyattsville, and Temple Hills, Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, yours truly, y'all know who it is. It's your boy, Mr. Uncut. And I'm going to get straight to it. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now as it relates to the unhoused population and to the homeless population. Please do not try to correct me when you say, no, you need to be saying unhoused. For the sake of the topic that I'm talking about the homeless community. We're not talking about spirituality. We're not talking about the heart being the place, the true home. We'll have that conversation for a later discussion. Right now, what I'm talking about is the homeless community, okay? The homeless community. The unhoused population. That means the ones that are all around, that we see all around us, the ones that are being misplaced in the encampments. We're going to talk about the individuals that are staying in hotels, or the ones that are not staying in hotels, the ones that are living in their cars. You know, let's really talk about this, y'all, because the truth be told, when you look at the region of the DMV, it is black leadership where this is happening at. No matter if you in the state of Virginia, no matter if you in the state of Maryland, no matter if you are in DC. And let's get one thing particular here. I know because Prince George's County is deemed as the quote-unquote Mecca, the quote-unquote gorgeous Prince George's, you know, they do not like to be associated. When I say they, the powers that be. Some, the constituents, and some, the officials. When you start talking about the unhoused population, when you start talking about homelessness in Prince George's County, Maryland, people cringe. They say, oh, we don't have this issue. No, you have the issue. Let's really talk about how at once upon a time that there used to be a tent city behind Bowie Town Center. Let's talk about how a couple of months ago that we had tents that you could see visibly be seen on Camp Springs. Let's talk about maybe about 7 months or so ago how that the only black males homeless shelter, we had the issue of each time that it rained, water was coming in. Let's talk about how each time that it rained, water was coming in. Let's talk about how when you pulled up, you could actually see that there was a cardboard box with duct tape used to block the cold air out of it. Let's really talk about that, y'all. Let's really talk about how there were holes where mice and rats was going in and out of it, was going in and out of the holes. Let's talk about that in Prince George's County, Maryland. This stuff that I'm talking to you about, you can go on the Uncut Live Productions page and see the post. Better yet, I'll give you something personally. You can go onto my page, Kenneth Clark page on Facebook, and you can actually see this stuff for yourself. The stuff that I'm actually talking about, y'all, in Prince George's County, Maryland. I would even go take it another step further, how that even personally, as being someone boots on the ground, of how when I brought this to the attention of the beloved Calvin Hawkins, it was foreign. Oh, I didn't know this was going on. Of course you didn't. But if it was time to ask for your vote, I will guarantee that you would make sure that you would know about it, right? Let's talk about in Washington, D.C. And the only person I'm going to give actual credit to is the beloved Robert White. There was an interview that I did shout out to everybody that came out, FTP movement, Breath of Life Comes You Are Ministry. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was a good day on Thanksgiving. But let's talk about how that individuals, and I gotta keep it a beat, they're closing, or I won't say closing, they're just shifting the people around. That's what I'll say. They're shifting these homeless encampments around because they realize that as the city begins to build up, that they don't want the community, or they don't want the developers, or they don't want these businesses to see the plight of homelessness in the community, right? So what's happening now is they're closing. They're closing these encampments. So they say they're closing them. We all know that there are over 25 homeless encampments in the nation's capital. How do we deal with this, right? Because people are saying, well, how do we deal with this? Well, the way that you can deal with this is simply, number one, there needs to be a bridge between the government and the grassroots organizations that can work hand in hand. I do not believe that the city should get rid or stop the hotels from having hotels available to actually give to the individuals that are unhoused. What I will say is that there does need to be a better vetting process as it relates to the security, so that when the unhoused or the homeless population are placed into the hotels, that we don't have security, whether they're SPOs or regular police officers or whatnot. There needs to be a better vetting system. There needs to be 100% accountability. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't believe that just because that security does one thing in particular, that they should that everybody winds up having to pay at the hands of the fact that because it was just either a couple of sites that where policing was misusing their ability. I don't believe that. What I believe is that we have to, number one, we've got to get the community to be more involved, and that there should be a better connection or communication with the nonprofits, right? There should be a better communication with the nonprofits at hand, to where the nonprofits, the grassroots organizations are working simultaneously with the government, whether if it's the government creating a contract with the nonprofits so that the nonprofits can facilitate and operate and facilitate the individuals that are staying at these, at the hotels. I think that should be done. Then another thing I think that we need to also address is I think, yes, we do need to look at the mental health perspective. I also believe that we need to look at the drug and addiction. We need to explore those options, because it's not just mental health. but it is not, and then also it's not just necessarily a drug issue. It's also some things whereas by um it's it's a compilation of multiple issues, y'all. No, I don't want to specify and just say it's mental health. No, I don't want to just specify and say it's drug addiction. No, I don't want to just specify and say it's income. No, I don't want to, because it's multiple issues as to why an individual is in the place that he or she may be in when it comes to being unhoused or when it comes to being homeless. So I think there needs to be a better perspective. There needs to be a better system put into place as we are addressing this issue. Because I don't think it's fair to say that we should just only address this issue from only one perspective, right? Even though that there are certain dire issues that do need to be addressed as we are having this conversation when it comes to the unhoused population, right? So I think that we've got we need to talk about integrity, we need to talk about oversight, we need to talk about accountability. And accountability just meaning that when something comes up, right? Because things are going to mess up. Things are going to mess up, y'all. No matter how much study, no matter how much advancement, things are going to mess up. Mishaps are going to happen, right? Think about what just happened a few weeks ago, a week or so ago, up in Prince George's County, where it was over 7 vaccinations was given. Over 7 vaccinations was given, and the vaccinations that they gave out were these vaccinations was expired. So that was a mistake, right? So maybe, perhaps, right? So we talk about accountability. Accountability doesn't mean that because a mistake happened that you just stop whatever service that you're providing and you just cut it at the head. No, you figure out a comprehensive structure to say, okay, you know what? Maybe perhaps we gave the vaccinations out too quick, too soon. Maybe we was rushing, right? I'm just using that as an example, because that's not what I came on here to talk about, these vaccinations. I just use that as an example as to how that mistakes happen. And no matter how advanced, y'all that watch the platform of Uncut Live Productions, I have always presented myself in a way where I bring the professionals to the scene, or bring the individuals that work along with the professionals. I want to also make something very clear before closing out. Uncut Live Productions is here to bring the different perspectives. It's here to bring to be just what it is, uncut, unapologetic. Because we have got to stop allowing people that are not in the black community to tell us about issues that we deal with, right? Sometimes we have people to tell us about issues that we deal with, and they have no inkling or understanding of the issues that we do deal with. So that's why this platform was created. This platform was created because I'm not waiting for the great white hope. I'm not waiting for some magician or some kind of white cape with angel dust coming behind to come down and talk about the issues that is relevant to the black community, right? So what I try to do is to make sure that I bring different people that are boots on the ground, right? I don't just necessarily go out here and just say, oh, I want to bring this person. No, there's a relationship that is built. These are people that are doing the work. These are people that are And believe it or not, a lot of the individuals that I do bring to the platform are people that are licensed or credentialed. So I want to just put that out there as particulars. Elections are coming up. We got a special election coming up in Prince George's County for councilmen, right? For District 8. And I'm going to keep it a beam with y'all, and I'm going to keep it all the way real. If you're not talking about the guns that are going off, if the candidates are not talking about the guns going off in District 8, that's an issue. Then, not only that, if nobody is talking about the evictions, because let's face it, there's a council for District 8 and the county at large, but let's face it, District 8, since prior to the pandemic, we have had over 104 evictions. And believe it or not, there's still some evictions that are happening now. It's some individuals right now that have still waiting to get assistance to get rental assistance. There's a lot of discrepancy as it relates to the rental assistance. What are some of the issues? Well, take it for example like this. Let's say you're an individual that receives some type of governmental support from the Social Security Administration. Maybe you receive what's called the supplemental income, right? And perhaps it may be your time for you to come up for reevaluation. However, we all know that when everything opened back up except the Social Security Administration. And that includes the offices, a lot of the offices within Prince George's County, Maryland, particularly, and I'm gonna pause right there, particularly because I got to give credit to where credit is due. I must say that there was a lot of good ways in which other jurisdictions handled the reopening of their governmental agencies. It was really good. It was really good. Prince George's County, Maryland, not so well. Even when all the phases was over, a lot of the agencies, like a lot of the human resource agencies, a lot of the governmental agencies, like Department of Community Housing of Prince George's County, Maryland. For those who may remember, I actually did an actual live and I showed you where individuals were dropping off recertifications. Some people were turning their information in to get approved for housing. Some individuals was not able to reach their case managers. They were not able to reach their case managers because a lot of the case managers were either just a lot of individuals just quit since the pandemic started, right? So you had that issue where individuals were dropping off information, but information, either twofolds to the information. Number one, either the information was just there in the Dropbox, and the people that were in charge to get the information in that Dropbox, they either quit. So therefore mean that there's information that's just sitting there. You have the second fold where the information was received, but the person that quit now has that information with he or she or whomever it may be. Since they have quit, they have that information with them. So then what has happened and what has transpired is now you have you have this issue where now individuals now have to come out a second or third time to submit this information and to get this information out there. And guess what? So it's been an issue. It's been an ongoing issue. It's been an ongoing issue because you have information that's already been put out there, and you got more information that's being put out there with the intent of trying to actually get their information to the proper people that it needs to get to. And so it's mighty funny because the agencies, they'll say, hey, due to budget constraints, we're not making copies. Well, for someone who may be between a fixed, middle, or low income, that may not as be conducive for them to keep coming back out for a second or third time to submit the same information. They say copies cost. Well, yeah, generally speaking, copies cost. They do cost anywhere between 80 cents to $1. That's an issue. Here's something else I want to talk about. We have these housing issues. Housing issues stem from multiple entities. Some individuals have mold, mildew, mice, rodents, you name it, going into their facilities. And since the pandemic, you have had renters that some in other jurisdictions around the DMV region, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, whereas by that some individuals got approved, the ones who did get approved for rental assistance, right? They're paying rent to live in some of the most deplorable conditions, where roofs are caving in, mold is folding up, mushrooms coming through the roof, mushrooms growing through the carpet, sewage problems, water leaks. How about this? Not only water leaks, but up in District 8 of Prince George's County, Maryland. Water breaks. It's been a lot of water breaks because of the sewage issue. I will even take it a step further. Even in some of the businesses, the commercial businesses, such as like Family Dollar up in St. Barnabas Road, the business had to shut down because it had a rodent infestation. These are issues that are going on in these jurisdictions. And the question that, as a voter, you need to ask yourself is this. Is the people that I'm voting for, how much have they been an assistant to you and I as constituents? Have you been calling the office? Have you been writing letters? Have you been shooting emails and not getting no response? Or is the response that you get, oh, well, due to the pandemic, this is why we have not adjusted yet? Are you getting that excuse? Or are you getting the feedback of, well, maybe you might get somebody from that official, from that representative? Are you possibly just getting a voicemail? And you leaving about 10, 12, 13, 14 some odd emails to address your concerns, to address your issues? Y'all, a lot of the topics that I just brought to you, these issues are happening under Black leadership. The unhoused population. Because there is an issue with housing around the DMV, no matter how you look at it. Whether it be that there's not enough income-based housing, or the fact of the matter is that housing is so high that the cost of housing, which is the cost of living, when I say the cost of housing, I'm talking about the cost of housing, you are not going to find an establishment in Prince George's County, Maryland, under $900. You're not going to find that. 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 You're not going to find an apartment under that. And don't even say anything about renting a room, because renting a room, the average that you're going to be paying for a room is $500. That's just for the rent. You may possibly be lucky enough to find something where you might be paying in utilities, you might be paying $80. And it depends on where it is that you do move to. Because some establishments have gas that's only for cooking, right? So you have that utility. Then you have electricity that you may use for lighting, right? So you use the gas for cooking. You might have a gas stove. You have electricity. Then you have water, and then you may have a sewage bill. I know some establishments where it's like 4 different sets of utilities all in one. I think it was one that I saw that they had a propane setup that was used for just for heating, just for the heat, and then for the separate it was a gas connection. So there's a propane bill, there's a gas bill, there's a light bill, there's an electric bill, there's a water bill, there's a sewage bill. Y'all see what I'm saying? And I'm saying all this to say that it's not as easy as you think it is. You know, yes, I said what I said about gorgeous Prince George's, because oftentimes gorgeous Prince George's, it can look very pretty on the outside, but in actuality, it's not pretty. It has some issues that's going on that need to be addressed. You know, and unfortunately, nobody's had. When you this is what I challenge you. If any of these issues that I just mentioned to you are sticklers for you, if these are issues that resonate with you, the next time that you see a meeting, town hall meeting, or debate, look for these topics and see if these topics are being brought up in the town halls. See if these issues are being brought up in the debates. And if they're not, then ask yourself, when I am voting, what am I voting for? Are you making sure that these issues that you are genuinely concerned about are being represented in the individuals that are running for office? I ain't gonna be with you much longer, but these are just my thoughts and perspectives. And I just had to get on here to share these with you, to get you to rethink, to reevaluate, and to really make it your voice heard when it comes to being represented, and to make sure that you are given the render services that you so rightfully deserve.